podcasts out there, but only one with this kind of energy.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps, Predictions, Sports. Let go, Show Recaps, Predictions, Sports.
In one podcast.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps, Predictions, Sports. Let go.
What's going on, everybody? It's the EVP from the EVP Show, and I'm live for your NXT recap. And I do apologize. I had some computer technical difficulties. I don't know what was going on. The Wi-Fi was it kept kicking me off of StreamYard. I know I'm like almost 40 minutes late, so I do apologize. But this is your NXT recap live on May the 5th. Almost May the 6th on the East Coast, but like I said, I do apologize for the delay. It was all had to do with the Wi-Fi and StreamYard. I don't know what the hell, it was like kicking me off every time. But I'm here, so I wasn't gonna not stream. So thank you guys for showing up. Obviously, like I said, I am late. But NXT was really good tonight. Very fast paced, chaotic. Just kind of how it was last week. Definitely setting up a lot of new feuds, which I kind of talked about on Scoots with Zarya, with that NXT North American Championship. And obviously we still see Kendall Gray. And we've seen Natty tonight also on NXT, which was awesome. She was back there, I don't know if they're gonna do some sort of angle where Jada Parker is going to be maybe go to the dungeon or something like that. But yeah, just a couple of quick announcements. Obviously, tomorrow is the WWE Backlash Prediction Show live at 7 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you set the notifications, and hopefully StreamYard is not giving me fits, which I don't think it will. I don't know. I was switching over from Wi-Fi, switching Wi-Fi, so that was a problem tonight. But 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, I'll be joined by 9 other guests for the WWE Backlash Prediction Show. So make sure you guys set the notification bell and come join us as we do the predictions for the 5 matches that are listed on the card for WWE Backlash, which gonna have a 2-hour pre-show again Saturday. And then it looks like we're back to a 5-match card, unless they add something to Friday, which they could, but I don't know. I'm hoping they do, but it's been a lot of stuff going on this week. A lot of stuff with TKO, obviously, with asking people to take pay cuts and all this kind of stuff. So it's been crazy this week with news, but this is we're in the middle of a 7-day week. But tomorrow's a big day, obviously, with the Backlash Prediction Show. So let's go ahead and get right on into it, guys. This is your NXT recap show live here on the EVP Show, May 5th, 2026. So it's, as always, it's from the Capitol Wrestling Center, WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. We're going to see the AAA Mixed Tag Team Champions, Mr. Iguana, and she's also one half of the Mixed Tag Team Champions from AAA, and the NXT Women's Champion, Lola Vice, take on the Cullens, Nico Vance, and Izzy Dame in a Mixed Tag Team match. Plus, LFG Season 1 winner Jasper Troy will face the Vanity Project Jackson Drake in a singles match. There was a lot more that went on than that, but we're also going to see the two. Her nickname is Too Strong. Callie Armstrong go 1-on-1 versus Jada Parker, and then we're also going to see an appearance by Zarya. So let's go ahead and get into it. Obviously, there's some good matches set for next week. Kalani Jordan, we didn't see Ren Sinclair on TV, or I didn't. So like I said, I don't know about her injury, if she was really hurt last week. But next week, Kalani Jordan is going to go 1-on-1 with Kendall Gray. So looking forward to that. And I'll get to the obviously Evil with whatever the new name Evil is going to be going by. Is going to make his NXT debut next week. So yeah, and then it looks like it's going to be a tag match next week with was it Lizzie Rain and Tatum Paxley against Nikita Lyons and Zarya. Looks like that's going to happen next week as well. So Vic Joseph and WWE Hall of Famer Booker T welcome us as we see the WWE NXT Men's Champion Tony D'Angelo backstage. Tony says these guys don't want to wait, so he isn't. And right out the gate, as NXT is kicking off, Tony D begins to attack Tavion Heights. And the entire locker room is then trying to pull them apart. Like I said, this was a super chaotic night. If you wasn't watching, keeping up, obviously, it was a crazy night. Things got very real between Tony D and Tavion. So we get to the first match of the night, which is Miss Parker. I wish I had that background music. I'll play it. Jada Parker makes her way down to the ring for the first match of the night against Callie Armstrong. Too Strong Callie Armstrong versus Jada Parker. So the match on top of both women begin to shoving each other, and then Jada Parker slams Callie Armstrong into the mat, and she isn't letting her go. Jada Parker then hits an arm drag, applies a side headlock, and she follows it up with a shoulder tackle and a suplex for a count of 2. Jada Parker then sends Callie Armstrong over the top rope. The fight then spills to the outside. Callie Armstrong then sends Jada Parker into the hardest part of the ring post. Jada Parker then fights back with a big kick to the side of the face, and both women are down. Both women then exchange blows in the center of the ring. Jada Parker then hits an elbow, and Callie Armstrong drops her shoulder into the midsection of Jada Parker. You know what? I didn't even tweet that I was live. Sorry, guys. I apologize about that. I need to do that. I do apologize about that. I didn't even post that I was live. Looks like the majority of the people are watching from my page. I'm running so far behind tonight. I'm sorry, guys. All right. Let everybody know that I'm live. Oh, man. Sorry about that. Let's get back to the action with Jada Parker and Callie Armstrong. So, where were we? Let's see. Parker then sends Jada Parker then sends Callie Armstrong over the top rope. The fight then spills to the outside. Callie Armstrong then sends Jada Parker into the hardest part of the ring. Jada Parker then fights back with a big kick to the side of the face, and both women are down. Both women then exchange blows in the center of the ring. Jada Parker then hits an elbow, and Callie Armstrong drops her shoulder into the midsection of Jada Parker. Jada Parker then hits a back elbow. Callie Armstrong fires back and applies a side headlock. Callie Armstrong then gets a takedown. Jada Parker then tries to fight back, but Callie Armstrong hits an Irish whip. She then runs into a big boot. Armstrong then hits a springboard high cross body. She then hits a series of rights to the temple and follows it up with a knee strike. Kelly Armstrong then drops her shoulder into the midsection of Jada Parker. Jada Parker then hits a big slap across the face of Kelly Armstrong. She didn't like that. Jada Parker then hits a back body drop and a kick. Jada Parker then delivers a hip attack. Kelly Armstrong and Jada Parker then exchange shots in the middle of the ring. Kelly Armstrong then pokes Jada Parker in the eye. Kelly Armstrong then hits a power slam. And then Kelly Armstrong then hits the Cali connection for the 1, 2, 3. So huge victory for Kelly Armstrong. She's only been on the show, on the NXT show, I believe 3 weeks. She defeated Skylar Ray in her debut. And then pretty much let Lola Weiss know that she was calling for her title. And then tonight she defeats Jada Parker 1-on-1 with the Cali connection. The winner of the singles match is Too Strong Kelly Armstrong. So we then go to the back where we see Robert Stone yelling at Tony D'Angelo. Tony says he is not going to wait around. Tony then tells Stone not to interrupt him, and he wants Tavion Heights tonight. Stone then gives Tony the match. So tonight, we will see the NXT champion, men's NXT champion in action, Tony D'Angelo, as he goes one-on-one with Tavion Heights. So then we go to another backstage segment with Birthright. Alexis King says what happened last week was an absolute travesty. They then talk about what happened last week. Fit Finley comes up on the phone and shows up. Or no, he shows up. And he says they are supposed to uphold tradition, not get outdone by gamers. So Fit Finley, the first generation of the Birthright shows up and tells them that they're not supposed to get outdone by gamers. Fit Finley then gets William Regal on the phone, another part of the first tradition of Birthright. And Regal says last week was a disappointment. He then sends Charlie Dempsey back to the Snake Pit to train because they will have a 6-man tag team match next week. So that is official for next week. He then says he wants Birthright to make most of the opportunity and take care of the business. So Fit Finley and William Regal with some advice for Birthright. And Ariana Grace was like, she looked terrified and she's like, we will take care of business. We then take a look at the challengers for Tony D'Angelo, and first is the former Evil. He says he made his name in his home country. He then says he faced and battled many great competitors. He then says he won many titles, but the soul of a warrior is never satisfied. He then says NXT is entering a great moment, and he is ready to strike. He then tells Tony he sits at the top of NXT with the biggest prize. He then says it is a prize he wants. So Evil is coming after. Oh God, what is Triple H? Mainly they're just creative or something else. Saruka botch. Okay-ish. Yeah, she definitely did botch last night for sure. He says, Evil says he has won many titles, but the soul of a warrior is never satisfied. He then says NXT is entering a great moment, and he is ready to strike. He then tells Tony he sits at the top of NXT with the biggest prize. He says, and that prize is what he wants. He then says he did not present him with a gift. He then says he presented him with a proclamation. He then says one day they will battle for that NXT title. He then says it is written in the rising sun. He then says he is Nakara, and he will debut next week. So Evil will be going by Nakara, and he will debut next week. So he's not going to be going by Evil. He's going to be going by Nakara. So Jasper Troy then makes his way down to the ring for the next match of the night, where he will season 1 LFG winner Jasper Troy. He will be going one-on-one with former WWE Men's Evolve champion and member of the Vanity Project, Jackson Drake. So the match starts off with Jasper Troy sending a charging Drake into the corner. Jasper Troy then hits several punches and shoulders in the corner. Jasper Troy then hits a shoulder tackle and he waits for Jackson Drake to get up. Jackson Drake then escapes a power slam and he kicks Jasper Troy. Jackson Drake then hits an enziguri. Jasper Troy then blocks an Irish whip and Drake hits a running body block when he does some gymnastics. Jackson then hits a meteor to Jasper Troy after Jasper Troy is distracted. Jackson Drake then chokes Jasper Troy in the corner. Jackson Drake then hits a drop kick in the corner, followed by several kicks. Jackson Drake then chokes Troy over the apron. Jackson Drake then hits a knee drop on the apron. Jackson Drake then hits a drop kick into the corner. Jackson Drake then tries to get Troy up, but he cannot do it. Troy then hits an elbow to the back of the head. Jackson Drake then drops Troy on the top rope, and Drake drops down, and Troy goes to the floor. Drake then hits a suicide dive, and Troy catches him. Drake then escapes and sends Troy into the ring post area. Jackson Drake then hits a suicide dive, and then hits a handspring cutter for only a count of 2. Jackson Drake then hits a drop kick and he applies a rear chin lock. Jasper Troy then gets to his feet with Jackson Drake on his back, but Jasper Troy collapses. Jackson Drake then hits a shot to the back and the referee checks on Jasper Troy. Jackson Drake continues the onslaught with several elbows to the clavicle and he applies a sleeper hold. Jasper Troy then backs Drake into the corner to escape the hole, but Drake hits several boots to Jasper Troy. Jasper Troy then hits a punch and a double sledgehammer. Troy then sends Drake into the corner. Jackson Drake then flips out of the corner and Troy catches Drake on a crossbody. Jackson Drake then counters with a tornado DDT. Drake then goes up top and Troy gets back to his feet and Drake is shocked. Jasper Troy then catches Drake off the turnbuckles and hits a choke slam. Jasper Troy then hits a back senton and Drake rolls to the floor. Troy then eventually goes over the top rope and to the floor. Jasper Troy then punches Ricky and Drake. He then sends Brad into the ring, but Mika Lockwood, otherwise known as Bailey Humphries from LFG, slams Jasper Troy and Jackson Drake hits a 450 splash for the 1, 2, 3 from the assist of Mika Lockwood, otherwise known as Bailey Humphrey from all 3 seasons of LFG. She's apparently with Jackson Drake. The winner of the singles match is the Vanity Project's Jackson Drake. So then we get a promo from the highly touted Tristan Angels. He cuts a promo and says the winds of change have come to NXT. Angels and says he is a 7th generation sheep herder, but he was destined for so much more. Angels then says at 22 years old, his name has become synonymous with fame. Tristan Angels then says when it comes to winning and achievements, he has a 6th sense. Angels then says that is different from your North American champion who doesn't have 5. Tristan Angels then says he does not have to attack someone from behind like Cam Hendricks or do what Shiloh Hill or Hank and Tank do. Angels then says he is the star you are looking for. He can carry that burden. Tristan Angels has arrived. So they did this a couple of weeks ago with they did it with Tiffany Stratton, and they also did it with Kendall Gray as well. We get an NXT Origin video package from the Eradicator and the WWE Women's SmackDown Champion Rhea Ripley. Rhea says she was very shy. Rhea says a year in the US, she felt she needed to change things up. Rhea then says that what works for others don't work for you. Rhea then says she was going nowhere with a fake version of herself. Rhea then says becoming the first NXT UK Women's Champion was insane. Rhea then says that led to being the NXT Women's Champion, and it meant the world for her. Rhea then says the most important lesson to live through the person she is meant to be and let it come out on the screen. Rhea then says she learned about the business and who she is. Rhea Ripley stayed true to herself and now is one of WWE's brightest stars, if not the biggest star in the women's division on WWE on the main roster. So then out comes she looked very different tonight. Zarya, her music hits, and she makes her way down to the ring. Zarya starts off by saying NXT feels differently. Zarya then says there's a change in the air, and now it can be anyone's game. Zarya then says for the first time, she is standing in the middle of the women's division with no one holding her back. Zarya then says, no dead weight. Zarya then says, no fake friends. Zarya then says she is starting to realize this is how it always needed to be. Zarya then says, her alone. Good promo by Zarya. Zarya then says now she has a clear path to what started it all. Zarya then says what came between her and Sol Ruka. Zarya then says it, and that is the NXT Women's North American Championship. Zarya then says some think that title destroyed everything, but that title is what finally woke her up. Zarya then says when you spend so much time around it, holding it and defending it, it makes it feel like it should be yours. And then out comes your NXT Women's North American Champion and her new merch that she just put on X today. Tatum Paxley interrupts. Tatum says she understands this title didn't fracture your relationship with Sol. It shattered it. Tatum then says it had nothing to do with her, though. Tatum then says now you're trying to figure out who you are by yourself. Tatum then says if you were to come after her for the title, it does not matter if you scorch the earth. Tatum then says she has ruined friendships. And then out comes she just debuted last week in a match one-on-one against Nikita Lyons is Lizzie Rain. She makes her way out and she tells Zarya and Tatum that they are right. Lizzie Rain then says NXT feels different and is anyone's game. Lizzie Rain then says she is the new blood in the locker room, and that is why she wouldn't mind joining in. Lizzie Rain then says she was the talk of the town last week when she made her debut. Lizzie Rain then says the lineage of the title is iconic. Lizzie then says how fitting would it be if there was some heavy metal added to the title. There are plenty of contenders for the NXT Women's North American title. So then out comes Lizzie Rain's opponent from last week, and obviously also someone that is on season 3 of LFG and on my thumb for episode number 3 coming up this Sunday. Nikita Lyons then makes her way down to the ring. Nikita starts off by saying Lizzie Rain was the talk of the town. Then she says that Nikita She got the Nikita Lyons rub. Nikita then says all she hears is the new flavor of the month shooting way over her head. Nikita then says, you set social media on fire, but she has seen them come and go. Tatum Paxley then interrupts and says if anyone wants a title match, Nikita then says she is not done. Don't interrupt her. She then says she does not know why Lizzie Rain has eyes on the title because she is not done with her. Nikita then goes for a kick and misses it, and Zarya takes care of Nikita. And then Zarya then delivers an F5 to your NXT Women's North American Champion, Tatum Paxley. Absolute chaos with the Fatal 4-Way out there. So then we go backstage and we see the Vanity Project in the back, and Romeo Moreno introduces himself. Brad Baylor then says just what we need, new people. And then we haven't seen this person in a while, I believe since he held the Heritage Cup. Noam Dar then shows up, and Jackson Drake says Dar used to be a big deal 10 years ago. Noam Dar then says he is back and it is time to shake things up. Noam Dar then challenges Jackson Drake next week and tells his boys he can watch. Mika then says they are with her. Drake then says if Mika wants to watch, he is in. Romeo then welcomes Noam back, so that is official next week. Noam Dar goes one-on-one with Jackson Drake. And then all of a sudden we go to the back to the hallway area, and Cam Hendricks, another person from LFG, which is Maxine Dupree's husband, attacked Tony D'Angelo in the hallways. Vicious attack from Cam Hendricks. So we then see Robert Stone in the back, and he is on the headset. He then tells the production people that Tavion Heights and Tony is not happening now, that the mixed tag team match is next. So the mixed tag was supposed to be later, but it is getting pushed up because Tony D was just attacked. So then out comes the women's NXT champion and one half of the mixed AAA tag team champions, Lola Bice. Makes her way down to the ring, followed by the other half of the mixed tag team champions, AAA tag team champions, Mr. Iguana. And then they are followed by the Cullen. So we're getting Mr. Iguana and Lola Bice versus the Cullens, Nico Vance, and Izzy Dame. So the match starts off with Mr. Iguana and Nico sends Mr. Iguana to the mat. Mr. Iguana then applies a waist lock, and Nico hits a shoulder tackle, and Iguana freezes on the mat. Nico then gets Iguana up, and Iguana applies a sleeper and transitions into a modified Rings of Saturn. Nico then hits a gory special, and Lola gives Iguana La Yesca. Iguana then hits an arm drag and a crossbody. Nico spears and takes the puppet, and Iguana takes it back. Izzy Dame then gets the hot tag, and Lola delivers several punches and kicks to Izzy. Lola then misses a boot in the corner, and Izzy hits a clothesline. Izzy then hits a European uppercut and a forearm. Izzy then hits a slam, and she gets a count of 2. Izzy then hits an Irish whip and a shoulder in the corner. Lola Bice then hits a kick, and she gets a roll-up for only a count of 2. Lola then hits several chops and a springboard arm drag. Lola then delivers a kick that sends Izzy Dame to the floor. Mr. Iguana then tags in, and he hits a head scissors. Lola then tags in, and Mr. Iguana hits a seated splash, and Lola hits one to Izzy Dame. Nico spears and distracts Lola, and Izzy delivers a shoulder tackle. Izzy then sends Lola into the turnbuckles, and Lola does the same. Izzy then blocks a German suplex, but then Mr. Iguana tags in, and he begins to chop Nico. Iguana then hits a springboard move, but Nico punches Iguana and kicks him. Nico then hits a punch, and he kicks Iguana. Nico then gets a near fall. Nico then hits an Irish whip and a splash to the back. Nico then hits several punches to the back. Nico then hits a suplex, and he holds on and hits an elbow. Nico then hits a suplex, and he holds on and hits an elbow to the back of the neck. Nico then hits a punch. Nico then chokes Iguana on the ropes, and Izzy hits a kick. Nico then gets a near fall. Nico then hits an elbow to the back of the neck. Mr. Iguana then hits a chop, and Nico delivers a punch. Nico then hits several elbows and a slam. Nico hits a diving headbutt, and only for a count of 2. Nico then delivers several more headbutts and then he hits a rolling headbutt. Nico then keeps Mr. Iguana from making the tag to Lola Vice. Izzy Dame then pulls Lola off the apron and sends her into the ring steps. Nico then delivers a slam and he goes for the pinfall, but Mr. Iguana kicks out at 2. Nico then gets Mr. Iguana up, but Mr. Iguana counters with a DDT. And then he gets the tag into the women's NXT champion, Lola Vice. She tags in, and Lola delivers several kicks to Izzy Dame. Lola then delivers several spin kicks. Lola then sets up for the running hip attack into the corner, but Nico gets involved, and she hits several kicks. Lola and Mr. Iguana then hit running hips into the corner. Lola Vice then gets a count of 2. Izzy Dame fires back with several elbows and a chop. Lola then escapes a slam, and Lola hits a kick for a near fall when Nico stops the referee before he could count to 3. Nico then sends Mr. Iguana to the floor, and then Izzy then hits a running corkscrew back elbow, but Lola Vice kicks out at 2. Lola then applies a crossed arm breaker, and Nico tries to chokeslam Mr. Iguana onto Lola Vice. Mr. Iguana then applies a triangle, and they go to the floor. Lola then also applies a triangle, and Izzy gets to the rope. So both of them have the triangle submission hold locked in at the same time. Izzy then counters it for a roll-up, Izzy counters it for a roll-up, but then Lola Vice kicks out at 2. But then Izzy Dame delivers the flying knee to your NXT Women's Champion, Lola Vice, for the 1, 2, 3. So Izzy Dame has pinned your Women's NXT Champion, Lola Vice. She says it is what it is. The winners of the mixed tag team match, the Cullens, Nico Vance, and Izzy Dame. So we go backstage and we see the men's NXT North American champion, Miles Bourne, backstage. Tavion Heights is back there also. He says he is unhappy after Cam Hendricks took out Tony D'Angelo early tonight. Miles Bourne then says he thinks it's a good thing because now he has time to prepare. Robert Stone then walks up to them and says he kicked Cam Hendricks out of the building. He then says Tony D is still down for the match tonight, and it looks like the main event is back on. Zarya then runs into Robert Stone backstage. She says Lizzie and Nikita had no business interrupting her tonight. Robert Stone then says he booked a tag team match for next week. Zarya and Nikita Lyons will take on Lizzie Rain and Tatum Paxley next week in a tag match. Robert Stone then says if Zarya wants a title opportunity, she's going to have to team up with Nikita Lyons next week. Robert Stone has his hand full tonight. So then we go to the locker room area where Jada Parker is highly visibly upset from her defeat earlier from Callie Armstrong, and she is destroying the locker room and throwing everything. She's yelling at the third person as she can't get it done. And then out of nowhere is the Boat herself, LFG Season 3 coach, and a future Hall of Famer Natty shows up and says, "What are they saying about Miss Parker is true." She then says, "You have gotten soft." And then Natty then leaves. Could we be seeing a match coming up with Natty and Jada Parker? So we go to the next matchup of the night. Haven't seen these guys around much, too much. They've been working over in AAA, but they are your former NXT Tag Team Champions. Not this Fast Standing Deliver, but the one before. They defeated Fraxium to win the Tag Team Championships. Hank Walker and Tank Ledger, otherwise known as Hank and Tank, make their way down to the ring for the next match of the night, as they're going to be going up against two members of Dark State, Cutler James and Osiris Griffin. So the match starts off with Cutler James and Tank lock up. Cutler applies a waist lock. Tank then hits the standing switch. Cutler then delivers several European uppercuts. Cutler James then hits an Irish whip, but he runs into a boot. Tank then hits a crucifix bomb for a near fall. Tank then tags in and he hits a shoulder tackle for a near fall. Cutler James then hits several punches and Hank applies a wrist lock. Cutler James then hits a punch and Osiris tags in and they take Hank down. Osiris then hits a slam and Hank kicks Osiris. Tank then tags in and they hit a double elbow into the corner. Osiris then blocks a suplex and he punches Tank. Osiris then hits a delayed vertical suplex. Cutler James tags in and he hits a short arm clothesline for only a count of 2. Cutler then misses a splash into the corner. Hank gets the hot tag in and Tank delivers a splash. Hank then hits a splash of his own and a running bulldog. Cutler James then knocks Hank off the turnbuckles and he hits the announce desk area. Cutler James then hits a clothesline to Tank on the apron. Saquon Sugar on the outside takes a chair from Dion Lennox and they begin to argue. More dissension in Dark State. Cutler James and Osiris then yell at Dion and Saquon Sugars. Cutler James then kicks Hank and he tags in Osiris. Osiris then kicks Hank. Osiris then hits a hard Irish whip. Hank then fires back with several chops, and Osiris hits a punch and a hard Irish whip. Osiris then hits an Irish whip, but Tank absorbs the impact, and Hank hits a clothesline. Tank and James then tag in, and Tank hits a springboard crossbody to both men. Tank then hits several punches to James, and he slaps his belly for a cartwheel and a clothesline. Tank then hits a forearm to Osiris on the apron. Osiris then grabs Tank's foot. Cutler James hits a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. Tank is then sent into the turnbuckles, and he hits some shoulders. Cutler James then hits a short arm clothesline, and Osiris tags in. Osiris then hits Snake Eyes and a dropkick for only a count of 2. Osiris then chokes Tank in the ropes. Tank then hits a punch, but Osiris hits a double sledge to the back. Cutler James then tags in and kicks Tank. Cutler James then hits another short arm clothesline, and then Cutler James goes for a pinfall but only a count of 2. Cutler James then applies an armbar and a chin bar combination and applies a rear chin lock. Cutler James then hits an elbow to the back of the head. Osiris then hits a clothesline, and Cutler James hits a tilt-a-whirl gutbuster. Osiris then gets a near fall. Osiris then hits several punches in the corner. Osiris then hits a slam. Osiris then hits the pie face to Tank, and Tank hits several punches and elbows in the corner to escape. Osiris then stops the tag, and he Irish whips Tank and hits a splash. Osiris then misses a splash, and Tank escapes a gut wrench. Hank then tags in and hits a crossbody against the ropes and follows it up with a suplex and a back senton to Cutler James. Hank then clotheslines Osiris over the top rope and to the floor. Hank then then pounces on to Osiris, throws him down onto the announce desk. Hank then hits a flying crossbody to Cutler James. Hank and Tank then hit a double spear, but Osiris breaks up the cover. Osiris then kicks Hank and sends him to the floor. Tank then sends Osiris to the floor. Cutler James then hits a hip lock backbreaker. Osiris gets a hot tag in. He hits an accordion slam and a Vader bomb for only a count of 2. Osiris then hits a slam to Hank, and Cutler James tags in. They then hit an assisted elevated DDT for only a count of 2. Cutler James and Tank then exchange punches. Tank then hits an elbow and a kick. Osiris tags in, and Hank clotheslines Cutler James to the floor. Cutler James then pulls Hank to the floor and hits a backdrop driver onto the apron. Tank then hits a suicide dive, but Osiris and James catch him and slam Tank onto Hank. James then tags in, and they hit a pop-up power bomb for the 1, 2, 3. Statement win tonight for Dark State. The winners of the tag team match is the Dark State Cutler James and Osiris Griffin. Are they back on track after the match? Dion and Saquon just stare at each other. So then we go backstage. Lola Weiss is holding her arm after defeat. Getting pinned by Izzy Dame, and we see Kalani Jordan, and she tells Lola Weiss tough loss to Izzy and says she wants a title match. Kalani then tells Lola to wait about her. Kendall Gray then shows up and says that Kalani better not be asking for a title match. She then says Kalani is her target because of what she did to her friend Ren Sinclair. Kalani then tells Kendall, we will see what is more important, the title match or the friendship. So it is official next week. Kalani Jordan goes one-on-one with Kendall Gray. Looking forward to that match. So then we see the newest member of the NXT team, which was announced on X, Emily Agard. And it looks like she's at his house. She is trying to get an interview with Keanu Carver. She shows up with Keanu Carver to get to know him. Keanu asks Emily who she is and what she wants. Emily says she is here to talk to him. Keanu then says, you are put in situations you don't want to be in. Keanu then says he refuses to talk to the camera. The camera is then put down but still recording. Emily then brings up that Keanu played football at Temple, and she asks what motivates him. Keanu says it is money. Keanu then says he is here to get paid. Keanu then says he has a family to feed. Keanu then says the comments and online fans don't pay the bills. Keanu then says he is not here to do fancy tricks to be popular. Keanu then says he does not need what anyone else wants. Keanu then says he told Shawn Michaels to give him a chance or cut him. Interesting. I don't think he really told him that, but he may have. Keanu then says if wrestling does not work, he will find something that will. Emily then says everyone's got to survive. Keanu then says everyone is putting on an act. Keanu then says he is the same guy he was his entire life. Keanu then says it didn't matter. Keanu then says he is the same person he has always been. Keanu then says he is not here to follow rules. Keanu then says he will not listen to the rules. Keanu then says if you want, he will go his own way. Emily then asked if she can get one question. So she was sat down here. She new to the job. She wants to just get one question in. Keanu then says he knows they were recording the whole time. Emily then asked Keanu how he knew the symbol of war. Keanu then says he went to college. Keanu then says he doesn't brag about what he knows. Keanu then says he is smart as shit. So we then get a video package of Charlotte Hill, who did record his biggest victory ever on NXT as he defeated the absolute Ricky Saints last week on his last match on NXT. We see Charlotte Hill talking about what happened last week. Charlotte then begins to talk about Tristan Angels and says he is going to learn more about him. So, feud in the making with Charlotte Hill and Tristan Angels. It is announced that next week, Kendall Gray will go one-on-one versus Kalani Jordan. Noam Dar faces Jackson Drake, and Nakamura makes his debut. And also, we're going to see Lizzie Rain and Tatum Paxley versus Zarya and Nikita Lyons. Tavion Heights is in the ring for the main event, and it's a non-title match in the main event. He's waiting in the ring for Tony D'Angelo, and the NXT Men's Champion Tony D makes his way down to the ring for the main event. So the match starts off with both men locking up, and Tavion applies a waist lock, and he hits a takedown. Tony then tries to escape, but Tavion takes him back down to the mat. Tony then hits a standing switch and a takedown of his own. Tavion then rolls through and takes Tony down with a single leg. Tavion then rolls through and sends Tony face first to the mat. They lock up again, and Tony hits a takedown, and he tries to send Tavion into the turnbuckles. Tavion then hits several punches and an Irish whip, but Tony comes out of the corner and clotheslines Tavion. Tony then sends Tavion to the turnbuckles. Tony then hits a leapfrog on Prettier for only a count of 2. Tavion then delivers several punches and a knee. Tavion then hits a gut wrench suplex and then goes up top, and Tony pushes Tavion off the turnbuckles into the ringside barrier. Tony then sends Tavion into the ringside barrier a couple of times. Tony then sends Tavion back into the ring and goes for the pin, but Tavion Heights kicks out at 2. Tony then hits an Irish whip and a shoulder into the corner. Tony then hits another Irish whip and another shoulder into the corner. Tony then hits another Irish whip, but Tavion moves when Tony goes for a shoulder in the corner, and Tony goes to the ropes to the floor. Tony then holds his knee, and the referee checks on him. Tavion then kicks Tony. Tavion then sends Tony into the LED barrier. Tavion then sends Tony back into the ring, and he gets a near fall count of 2. Tavion then hits several forearms for a count of 2. Tavion then applies a dragon sleeper. Tony then gets back to his feet. Tavion then hits a forearm, and Tony hits several elbows. Tavion then hits a slingshot reverse suplex for a near fall. Tavion then hits a flying shoulder tackle for a count of 2. Tavion then hits a frog splash, goes for another pinfall, but Tony D kicks out. Tavion then applies a reverse chin lock. Tavion then hits a forearm to the back, and Tony does not like that at all. Tavion then hits a forearm. Tony D fires back with several punches and then hits a German suplex and delivers a second one. Tony then hits a third German suplex. Tavion fires back, hits a knee to Tony, and an overhead belly-to-belly suplex. Tavion hits a T-bone suplex for only a count of 2. Tony then hits a fisherman suplex for a count of 2. They then both begin to exchange punches. Tony then hits a Superman punch, and Tavion hits a forearm. Tony then hits a spear, and he sets up for a choke slam. Tavion then escapes, and he hits a belly-to-belly suplex. And then out, he was supposed to be barred from the arena, But out comes Cam Hendricks to the ring, and Tavion brings him into the ring and sends him to the floor. Miles Bourne hits a flip dive onto Cam, and then Tony hits a choke slam for the 1, 2, 3. Tony D gets the win tonight. After the match, Tony offers his hand to Tavion, and Tony is splashed by the man who hit the moonsault on Tony last week. He then hits a running backpack cannonball into Tavion in the corner. He then says he is Mason Rook, and he has arrived in NXT as the show comes to a close. Mason Rook has arrived in NXT, so Tony D has a plethora of new challengers. So sorry guys, once again, like I said, for being late tonight. I was having some technical difficulties with StreamYard and my computer, but this has been your your NXT recap show live May 5th, 2026, Cinco de Mayo. Hopefully you guys enjoyed your Tuesday. And if anyone did watch this live on YouTube, I know I'm super late. Please make sure you hit that like button on the stream. If you are able to go back and watch the stream later on, please hit the like button. And if you want to leave some comments, I do check my YouTube frequently, and I will answer you in the comments if you have any comments or anything on tonight's NXT show. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and go to the outro, and then I will be back to tell you where you can find me on my socials and what I have coming up for you guys for the rest of this week. And it is a lot because this is Backlash week.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
There are a lot of podcasts out there, but only one with this kind of energy.
Welcome to EVP Show Recap Prediction Sports. Let go, show recap prediction sports
In one podcast.
Welcome to EVP Show Recap Prediction Sports. Let go.
Once again, thank you guys for tuning in to your NXT recap show live here on the EVP show. So, I'll go ahead and tell you guys where you can find me on my socials. It is scrolling across the bottom in the blue. And I can tell you right now, all my links are in my bio. So if you're looking for my YouTube page, you can find it on any of these socials that's listed below. Scrolling across the blue at the bottom of the screen. Obviously, if you're looking for me on X, you can find me at EVPCJP. And if you're already following me, you can see that my YouTube page is pinned at the top. So please share that YouTube page. Like I said, ultimate goal is 300 subscribers by SummerSlam. And please try to help me. Please get there. Whatever you guys can do to help me get to 300 by SummerSlam. That is the goal. So if you're looking for me on Instagram, it's a business account. So now you can see my YouTube link pinned at the top. You can find me at EVPCJP as well. On TikTok, you can find me at Brady the Goat 21. Again, that's at Brady BRADY DA Goat 21. Last but not least, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you already subscribed, just hit that notification bell and it will remind you of when I go live. But if you follow me on any of these platforms, obviously you can see my YouTube channel pinned at the top of my X page. It's in my bio of my Instagram, my TikTok, and also my Facebook. But if you're not subscribed and you're looking for my channel in the search bar, you just go in and type in at the EVP show and hit that subscribe button and come join me for a lot of wrestling content. Over 900 videos so far here, live videos so far here on the EVP show. And share with friends. You never know. I cover everything from LFG to NXT to obviously TNA. WWE, all PLEs, prediction shows, and recaps of the PLEs. So what I have coming up next for you guys, like I said, tomorrow's the big day. It is the WWE Backlash Prediction Show live at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be streaming early. I'll be doing some shorts after it. I do have a full panel, which I tagged everyone on X today. So you guys tune in, hit that notification bell, and come join us. If you're not going to be on camera or on the stream, there are 2 more PLEs coming up in May. Just send me a contact DM on X. Obviously, I'll be putting out posts for the Saturday night's main event prediction show and also the Clash in Italy at the end of May. But come join us tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern, even in the comments. If you want to put your predictions in there, I will post them up on the screen as we are doing our predictions. So that is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then Thursday night, I'm back at 11:30 p.m. Eastern for your TNA recap show. And then join me Friday night as Fatal Influence goes up against the WWE Women's SmackDown Champion Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss for the Go Home right before Backlash SmackDown recap show live Friday night at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then join me again Saturday, somewhere between 10 and 10:30 p.m. Eastern for the WWE Backlash recap show, as I will be recapping everything that went on at WWE Backlash. And then come back and join me Sunday. It is the 3rd week of Doubleheader Sunday here on the EVP show. Join me first at 6 p.m. Eastern for Sunday Night Scoops with the EVP, episode number 20. And then come back later that night at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time for LFG Season 3, episode number 3. That will conclude the week and Doubleheader Sunday. With that being said, guys, I do deeply apologize for being so late. I was having computer difficulties, but I hope you guys enjoyed NXT tonight and the NXT recap show live here on the EVP show. And remember to hit that notification bell. I don't know why my phone just keeps going on. Remember to hit that notification bell and come and join us tomorrow night. With that being said, this is your NXT recap show live May 5th, 2026 on the EVP show. I am the EVP from the EVP show and the golden boy of DWE. And if you're not with us, you need to be, because DWE is the place to be. Like I said, I will see you guys tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern, live for your WWE Backlash prediction show. Hope you guys enjoy your Wednesday, and come tune in and catch us tomorrow night with a full panel as we predict WWE Backlash at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Good night, everyone.